The man can't stop doing it, or he dies. The film initiates as Chip Charlios, also recognized as Shavy, emerges from what seems like a hangover-induced nap, prompted by the ringing of his phone. He heads to his living room, encountering a CD deliberately left for him bearing the inscription Q. Upon playing the CD, it unfolds as a response detailing the events that transpired. The reply involves Ricky Verona and his brother, who assaulted Shavy with the intent of enabling Ricky to administer a drug that he dismissively refers to as Chinese synthetic sci-fi bullshit. In the recorded message, Ricky tells Shavy he'd thought twice before killing Don Kim, and emphasizes the extreme lethality of the drug, revealing that Shavy has a mere hour left to live. Fueled by intense anger, Shavy erupts in a fit of rage, smashing the TV, and immediately embarks on a pursuit. While in the car, he desperately attempts to reach his girlfriend, only to find that she's unresponsive. Undeterred, Shavy then tries to contact Dr. Miles, but discovers that he is also unavailable. As Shavy's heart rate plummets, signaling a decrease in blood circulation, he presses the gas pedal to accelerate. Surprisingly, his dizziness subsides. In a frantic effort, he dials his friend Chloe, recounting the harrowing events that have unfolded. Shavy instructs Chloe to alert him immediately if Ricky is spotted, as he is determined to kill him, even if it means it's the last thing he does. Shavy proceeds to Orlando's neighborhood, seeking information on Ricky's whereabouts. However, Orlando clarifies that he's not associated with Ricky anymore, and shares details of his own betrayal by Ricky in their last encounter. With desperation setting in and having exhausted other options, Shavy resorts to physically confronting some of Orlando's men in a last-ditch effort to keep his heart active after the ineffectiveness of previous drug attempts. While Shavy is en route, Ricky calls and cruelly informs him that he plans to take Shavy's girlfriend once he succumbs to the imminent danger. Shavy issues a stern warning, cautioning Ricky about the severe consequences he'll face if his boss Carlito discovers the treacherous actions. Shavy asserts that Carlito would not hesitate to eliminate Ricky and his associates. Despite Ricky's attempt to declare them as friends, Shavy adamantly rejects the notion, unwilling to accept any semblance of camaraderie. As Shavy exceeds the speed limit, he attracts the attention of the police, prompting a pursuit. Seeking refuge, he drives into a mall. On a call with Dr. Miles, he describes his symptoms. Miles discloses that Shavy has been exposed to the Beijing cocktail. To counteract its effects, Shavy needs to stay in constant motion, elevating his adrenaline levels periodically. Dr. Miles assures Shavy that he will arrive in LA shortly. Successfully evading the police, Shavy heads to Beverly Hills to seek assistance from his boss, Carlito. However, Carlito appears indifferent to Shavy's predicament. He acknowledges that his directive for Shavy to eliminate Don Kim was misguided, leading to unforeseen consequences with the Hong Kong syndicate, now in an anticipated state of unrest. Carlito refuses to aid Shavy in seeking retribution against Ricky. While on his way, Miles calls Shavy, informing him of a flight delay. In a critical turn of events, Miles instructs Shavy to go to the operating room and administer 3/4 of a syringe of epinephrine to address the escalating situation with the Beijing cocktail, an artificial adrenaline. En route to the hospital, Chloe alerts Shavy that he has spotted Ricky's brother at the Prince restaurant. Upon arrival, Shavy employs a cunning ruse to lure Ricky's brother into following him. Seizing the opportunity, Shavy swiftly incapacitates him by chopping off his hand, and after a strenuous struggle, ultimately ends his life. Shavy wastes no time informing Ricky of his drastic actions. As he rushes to the hospital seeking epinephrine, the receptionist notifies the police, possibly due to a notice placed on him, intensifying the complications surrounding Shavy. Shavy manages to elude the police for a brief respite, only to find himself back in pursuit shortly afterward. Fortunately, during his journey, he acquires epinephrine through forceful means. He urgently requests the nurse to administer a shock using the defibrillator, aiming to jolt his system and counter the effects of the Beijing cocktail. In a desperate move, Shavy injects himself with an entire bottle of epinephrine, harnessing the added adrenaline to sprint at an incredible speed. During his intense run, Dr. Miles discovers Shavy's excessive use of epinephrine and sarcastically warns him of the potential lethal consequences. In a daring move, Shavy appropriates a police bike, leading to a collision that leaves him momentarily incapacitated. Meanwhile, there's a shift in the scene as Ricky receives his brother's severed hand. Enraged, he instructs his men to target Eve, Shavy's girlfriend. Shavy, in the midst of his ordeal, is abruptly awakened by a call from Eve. She reveals Ricky's poisoning plot, detailing his attempts at kidnapping and tormenting her. Shavy assures her that he is on his way to intervene. Upon reaching Eve, Shavy urges her to come with him. Before leaving, Shavy confronts and deals with the men sent by Ricky. He then opens up to Eve, confessing his identity as an assassin and revealing how he spared Don Kim's life. Shavy discloses the details of the poison, but Eve, skeptical, starts to walk away. Desperation sets in as the Beijing cocktail begins to slow Shavy's heart. In a last-ditch effort to increase his adrenaline, Shavy requests intimacy from Eve to save his life. Initially resistant, Eve eventually gives in after a struggle, and they engage in the act amidst all the people around. During the intense moment with Eve, Chloe calls Shavy with crucial information that Ricky has been spotted in Don Kim's old factory. However, upon reaching the location, Shavy discovers Chloe murdered. Shockingly, it's revealed that the threat doesn't originate from the Chinese seeking vengeance for Don Kim's death, but rather from Shavy's own boss, Carlito. As Shavy's girlfriend appears, the danger escalates, forcing Shavy to open fire to create a diversion for their escape. Back in the car, faced with the urgency of the situation, Eve takes another unconventional step to assist Shavy by providing. After Shavy successfully deals with the threatening men, he receives a call from Dr. Miles, who has already arrived. Shavy rushes to the location where the doctor administers drugs through a drip. Miles explains that the drugs are slowly neutralizing the poison, eventually leading Shavy into a temporary coma. However, Shavy, driven by the need to settle unfinished business, insists that he requires an hour before succumbing to the effects. Determined, he negotiates with Miles to strap the necessary drugs on him, allowing him a brief window to attend to his matters. Shavy then makes a deal over the phone with Ricky, who is still engrossed in the news, portraying Shavy as a madman causing chaos on the streets. The terms of the deal involve Shavy trading Ricky's deceased brother's necklace for the antidote. Upon finalizing the venue, Shavy shares the information with Eve. As they arrive at the location, Shavy is escorted and his pistol is forcibly taken. Subsequently, he is subjected to a thorough frisking, leading to the removal of his strapped medication. Tensions escalate as Shavy confronts Ricky, berating him a little bitch for accepting only half of what Carlito used to pay. The situation takes a dangerous turn when Carlito, intent on revenge, plans to administer another dose of the Beijing cocktail to Shavy. However, in a surprising twist, Shavy receives backup from Don Kim, who has become an ally. Together, Shavy and Don Kim unite forces to fend off Carlito and Ricky's men in a fierce confrontation. In the fierce confrontation, Ricky loses some of his fingers, and Carlito sustains severe injuries to his entire body. As Carlito attempts to escape in a helicopter, Shavy catches up with him. In a climactic moment before Shavy enacts a deadly revenge, Ricky intervenes, injecting Shavy with the remaining dose of the Beijing cocktail. Coldly, Ricky kills Carlito, taunting Shavy with the words, "Now who's your little bitch?" Ordered by Ricky, the pilot takes off, and Shavy, determined and fueled by vengeance, hangs onto the helicopter. A mid-air struggle ensues between Shavy and Ricky until Shavy manages to drag both of them out of the helicopter. In a chilling climax, Shavy strangles Ricky in mid-air, fulfilling his earlier promise to kill him. With Ricky